Imagine a world where students aren't solely shaped by textbooks, but instead face complex social realities and peculiarities at every turn. In Japan, renowned for its strict discipline and rigorous education system, there exist social norms so unusual they leave many bewildered. Before 2023, the age of consent was a mere 13, an astonishingly low number. This meant that students in Japan were exposed to adult matters much earlier than you might expect, causing shock and outrage in many other countries. And it doesn't stop there. In rural areas, some students have even gotten married while still attending school, juggling exam preparation with motherhood. Yes, you heard that correctly, this happens. And in some parts of Japan, it's considered entirely normal. What lies behind these contradictions? How has a highly advanced nation like Japan continued to hold on to such perplexing and hard-to-believe societal norms? Join us as we delve into the untold secrets of student life in the land of the rising sun. Japan, the land of the rising sun, is both mysterious and captivating, a place where tradition and modernity blend in remarkable ways. Famous for its cutting-edge technology, Japan continues to amaze the world with revolutionary inventions like robots, the Shinkansen bullet trains, and futuristic cities like Tokyo, glowing under neon lights. Alongside its technological advancements, Japan is also proud of its rich cultural heritage, where centuries-old traditions such as the tea ceremony, kimonos, and ancient temples and shrines have stood the test of time. Yet, despite Japan's reputation as a leader in technology and a nation steeped in tradition, it harbors some surprising and shadowy aspects. Can you believe that in such a modern country, the age of consent was set at just 13 before 2023? This stark contrast between a progressive image and the darker sides of its social policies has left many people astounded. A powerful wave of backlash has erupted, both domestically and internationally, criticizing the lack of protection for minors in the face of cultural and societal decline. You are not mistaken. Japan is leading the Asian economy, but at the same time, the age of sexual consensus in this country is the lowest in the world, only 13 years old. The age equivalent of a junior high school student may be exposed to or arise sexual behaviors, provided there is consensus. This regulation has existed since 1907 and has caused much controversy, especially in the context that Japan is a developed country. This allows 13-year-olds to engage in sexual activity if consensus is available. However, it has stumbled upon strong strength from child protection groups and the international community for insufficient protection of adolescents from sexual acts of application and exploitation. On the reaction of Japanese students to debate the issue of sexual consensus, there are several notable factors. Before the law was amended in 2023, many students aged 13 to 16 did not really understand the right to self-determination and the risks associated with this consensus. Many parents worry that this rule does not protect their children enough from sexual predators. Students, especially adolescents, often do not have adequate knowledge of sex education and related risks. One of the age-related issues agreeing to this relationship in Japan is the concept of enjokosai, or offset dating. In fact, in the Japanese learning environment, especially for girls who already exist in jokosai, this is supposed to be a form of sexual transaction. Specifically, older men give money or luxurious gifts to attractive young women to be loved. Female participants included high school girls. The most common meaning of the term enjoyment kosai in Japan is that it is a form of child prostitution, whereby the girls engage in selling their bodies in exchange for high-value material or money. However, some organizations and writers have argued that enjoy kosai differs from prostitution and may only spend time together for compensation. Anthropologist Laura Miller argues in her study that the majority of enjokosai dates consist of groups of girls who accompany a group of older men to the karaoke bar for several hours and get paid for their time. It's hard to believe, but these activities still persist and remain a painful issue for the people of Japan, especially for families with daughters in this age group, as prostitution and sexual harassment continue to be hot-button topics. The nature of harassment includes groping, being shown or asked to show sensitive body parts, and rape. Shockingly, according to some surveys, over 80% of respondents reported being sexually assaulted through bodily penetration by an adult when they were just 12 years old or younger. In Japan, only evidence of physical struggle can confirm rape, even if there is no consent. Furthermore, in many cases, the Japanese police have been criticized for their insensitivity and failure to handle these situations properly. Rape cases are often processed slowly or even dismissed if there is no clear evidence that the victim fought back hard enough, leading to many attackers walking free. A shocking example is the account of Ito, who described her ordeal of reporting a rape and being forced to reenact the assault, which may explain why Japanese women are hesitant to approach the police. She wrote in her book Black Box the reenactment was not conducted at the scene, but instead in a martial arts studio on the top floor of the Takanawa police station. In front of a group of police officers, all men and involved reenacting the rape scene, using a plastic doll as the perpetrator. Even more astonishing is a case in Nagoya, where a father who raped his 19-year-old daughter was acquitted by the court, ruling that, although the daughter did not consent, she did not resist forcefully enough. This decision sparked protests nationwide. One of the most notable protests was the flower demonstration. Behind this poetic name lies the physical and emotional pain of sexual harassment victims. The protests take place on the 11th of each month in major cities like Tokyo, Osaka, and others. Participants often carry flowers, symbolizing remembrance for the victims of sexual violence, and call for legal reform through collective action. As a result, Japan's laws have also seen positive changes regarding this issue. In 2017, Japan revised its criminal code on sexual offenses for the first time in 110 years. A series of acquittals in sexual abuse cases, along with the growing number of cases involving the non-consensual photographing of young girls and women, sparked public outrage, pushing for new amendments. The changes enacted classified sexual intercourse with anyone under the age of 16 as rape. They also introduced 8 situations termed as non-consensual sexual crimes, a new term referring to forced sexual acts, including cases where the victim is attacked under the influence of alcohol or drugs, or when fear or threats are involved. Additionally, they banned the filming, distribution, and possession of sexually exploitative images without consent. The statute of limitations for sexual offenses was also extended by 5 years, raising it to 10 years for non-consensual sexual intercourse. Offenders can now face up to 15 years in prison, while photovoyeurism can result in a prison sentence of up to 3 years. 2023 marked a major milestone. After 116 years, Japan passed a crucial amendment to its consent law, raising the age of consent from 13 to 16, signifying a significant step forward in protecting minors from sensitive or exploitative situations. With Japan raising the age of consent from 13 to 16 and expanding the definition of sexual crimes, do you think this is enough to protect minors from sexual exploitation in a complex society like Japan? Share your thoughts on how the law might continue to evolve. Although the changes to the age of consent law in 2023 have brought hope for better protection of minors, there are still other strange aspects of the lives of Japanese students. You may find it hard to believe, but a high school senior juggling both studies and caring for a child is something entirely normal in Japan. Up next, let's dive into the mystery behind this odd yet accepted norm. Unlike the 18 milestone in many countries around the world, in Japan, males from the age of 18 and females from 16 can marry with parental consent. This leads to a situation where some students still in school are already married, particularly in rural areas. Public opinion in Japan about this issue varies widely, depending on cultural views and living environments. In major cities, many people, especially the younger generation, see early marriage and childbearing during school years as inappropriate, even outdated in modern society. They believe students should focus on completing their education and establishing careers before starting a family. However, in rural areas, early marriage may be considered normal, and families often expect their children to settle down sooner. Additionally, in some rural communities or families facing financial or social pressure, marriage may be viewed as a form of transaction. As a result, there are still cases where female students attend school while raising children. In rural regions, traditional customs and values often emphasize the role of women in starting families early, especially in households strongly influenced by local culture or economic hardship. Female students who marry young and have children frequently face the reality of having to quit or interrupt their education to care for their families. Not only does this impact their education, but it can also have serious mental health implications for young girls. Bearing the responsibility of being both a mother and a wife, while still not fully matured, can lead to stress, depression, and feelings of social isolation. Furthermore, Having children at such a young age poses significant health risks for both the mother and the child. Although forced marriages in Japan are no longer as widespread as they once were, the practice still leaves lasting consequences for young girls' lives. From interrupted education and limited opportunities for personal growth to financial strain and psychological pressures, young brides face a multitude of challenges. So, if you were in this situation facing family and societal pressure to marry while still in school, how would you react? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section of this video. While stories of early marriage and societal pressure on female students continue to surprise, another issue that has sparked much controversy is Japan's adult film industry. What's even more astonishing is that many people are unaware of the violations involving individuals under the age of 20 within this industry. So what is really happening behind the glamorous facade of Japan's specialized film industry? And how are young people being drawn into this environment? Let's uncover these shocking stories right now. The adult film industry in Japan is one of the most controversial sectors, not only because of its scale but also due to the issues surrounding the rights and protection of participants. The most surprising fact is that although actors must legally be 20 years old to participate, many violations still occur, with companies exploiting loopholes or coercing minors into sensitive and explicit content. The aftermath of such involvement leaves not only psychological scars, but also creates a complex web of problems, sparking a strong backlash from the public and child protection organizations. Moreover, this industry is notorious for its tight control and massive scale. Yet behind the scenes are shocking stories of power abuse and manipulation of contracts involving young actors. This secrecy and ongoing debate have led to a pressing question: are those in front of the camera truly being protected, or are they merely pawns in a system driven by profit and exploitation? Imagine an innocent 18-year-old high school girl, still not yet graduated, lured by sweet promises of fame and fortune. However, what awaits her is deceit and coercion. Once she realizes the truth, she becomes trapped in unreasonable contracts and cannot escape. Many of them endure shame, social stigma, and even severe depression. What makes the situation even more terrifying is that when they decide to come forward and expose what has happened, they become the target of attacks not only from the companies but also from the public. Another horrifying reality is that some victims are minors who have been exploited in pornographic content, leaving psychological scars that are even deeper and harder to heal. Behind the glittering lights of Japan's adult film industry lies a complex web of power, where legal regulations and enforcement often prove to be nothing more than fragile walls. Despite clear laws requiring actors to be at least 20 years old to participate in adult content, the question arises: are these regulations really being followed? Or are they just a cover to hide the cunning tactics of an industry driven by enormous profits? Loopholes in age verification, along with the influence of powerful companies, have sparked debates about whether young actors are truly being protected or merely manipulated in a merciless system. The tug-of-war between profit and ethics makes this issue increasingly complicated and shrouded in mystery. In Japan, the legal age requirement for actors in the adult film industry has long been a sensitive and controversial issue. Japanese law states that actors participating in adult films must be at least 20 years old, the legal age of adulthood in Japan. However, enforcing this law has proven challenging due to loopholes in oversight and the enforcement mechanisms of authorities. There are various ways companies exploit the law and coerce actors, such as pressuring young actors into signing vague contracts or using sophisticated methods to conceal their actual age. For example, falsifying age or using fake documents. Many companies have been caught misreporting the actor's age or using fake IDs to legally employ underage actors. This often happens with young people who are unaware of their legal rights or are lured by promises of fame and high income. Coercive contracts. Some actors are deceived into signing contracts with ambiguous clauses or are even threatened to comply with the company's demands. There have been cases where actors were forced into participating in sensitive content they did not agree to or anticipate the consequences of. Exploitation of students and schoolgirls. One of the most vulnerable groups targeted are schoolgirls or young university students. Since they are often at a transitional age and susceptible to offers of quick money, many do not realize the long-term consequences. There have been cases where high school girls or university students were lured into the industry without fully understanding the psychological and social impact they would face afterward. Some victims were exploited while still in school, leading to mental health issues and social stigma after the situation came to light. In fact, there have been reports of high school girls being enticed by adult film production companies, promising them work as models or in light content. However, after signing contracts, they were forced into participating in explicit content. Many of these schoolgirls were unaware of their rights and found themselves in a position where they could not refuse. Furthermore, young university students are also easy targets, especially when facing financial pressure. Some students were coerced into the adult film industry under financial duress, or were manipulated by companies through deceptive contracts with unclear or fraudulent terms. Once involved, they must endure severe psychological and social repercussions. The involvement of underage people in this industry leaves not only mental injuries, but also serious health effects. Victims often face sexual health problems and do not receive adequate medical support. Many people also have abortions or have sexually transmitted infections due to a lack of safe protections. Once embroiled in this spiral, their future is stolen. There is no way to back off. Stories of girls who were pushed into unimaginable situations just to serve the profits of companies terrified the case. From these shocking incidents, the Japanese legal system is facing a big challenge: how to better protect actors in the adult film industry, especially young people. Society requires a drastic change, from closely monitoring the recruitment process to strict sanctions on abuses of power. But are these reforms strong enough to stop the next terrible story? What do you think needs to be done to better protect young people from the cruelty of this industry? From the controversial stories of the adult film industry, we shift to another equally surprising aspect of Japanese youth life, where the image of serious students, adhering to school rules and strict regulations, stands in stark contrast to the cute yet sexy fashion trend that dominates the streets. This contrast is like stepping out of a school with strict dress codes and uniforms, only to see female students transform into figures of allure once they leave the school gates. Japan has skillfully blended the innocence of school life with a touch of seductive style, leaving people wondering, is this a natural expression of kawaii culture, or a bold crossing of boundaries between cuteness and allure, in a way that few places in the world can match? The cute yet fashionable trend among Japanese schoolgirls comes from an interesting mix of kawaii culture and modern fashion. Initially, kawaii simply meant cute, but from the late 1990s, this style evolved as traditional school uniforms were modified, becoming more trendy. Influences from idol culture and anime turned the once innocent school uniforms into fashion statements. Idols often wore altered uniforms, presenting a cute yet stylish image that blurred the line between innocence and fashion forward. Shorter skirts, knee-high socks, and sweet makeup created a contrast between schoolgirl innocence and a more modern look, making this trend unique and eye-catching. The cute yet fashionable style is highly popular among Japanese schoolgirls, even though they must follow strict school uniform rules, such as wearing white underwear and maintaining a specific skirt length. Students often find ways to add their own touch. Many girls cleverly fold their skirts to make them shorter, blending traditional with trendy elements as part of kawaii culture. They also accessorize with small bows, knee-high socks, and stylish sneakers to create a more personalized look. As a result, the image of Japanese students has evolved beyond the standard school uniform, combining schoolgirl innocence with a refined, fashionable flair. This trend is particularly widespread among youth in major cities like Tokyo and Osaka. It has not only spread in schools but has also become a part of street fashion, frequently seen in famous fashion districts like Harajuku. The influence of this style has even extended beyond Japan, impacting youth fashion in many countries and turning it into a global trend. However, the popularity of this style has sparked some debate and concern over the image of students being influenced by fashion trends. Some feel that the combination of short skirts and modern elements in school uniforms, when paired with kawaii's innocent look, could lead to misunderstandings, especially when media or entertainment industries focus on these trends. This sometimes causes the style to be misunderstood or misrepresented. While this trend mainly comes from fashion and personal expression, it also reflects a challenge where cuteness and style are sometimes exaggerated for commercial purposes. As a result, many social activists and child protection organizations have raised concerns, urging more care in how these images are portrayed, especially within schools. This version softens the language while maintaining the core message and ideas. That's not all. Don't be too surprised by the cute yet alluring style of Japanese schoolgirls today. because what I'm about to reveal is even more astonishing. Can you believe that while Japan is known as a modern, advanced country with a highly developed education system, a shocking truth is hidden behind the doors of its schools? Sexual education here remains full of gaps. Despite tremendous progress in technology and culture, the sexual education program in Japan is still very basic, leaving young people vulnerable to serious sexual health risks. It's incredible that Japanese students, who have access to some of the most advanced technology in the world, lack fundamental knowledge about safe sex. They are not properly taught how to protect themselves from sexually transmitted diseases or about contraception, a critical oversight in an increasingly open society. And what happens when these issues are ignored? Students turn to the internet, where misleading information and unofficial sources become their unintended teachers. But the story doesn't stop there. In Japan, talking about sex isn't just taboo, it's heavily stigmatized. It's hard to believe, but in such a modern country, students feel ashamed and pressured when discussing sex. Their questions are overlooked, their concerns are pushed aside, and confusion becomes their constant companion. As a result, issues like unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases continue to rise, but are often hidden, casting a shadow over the younger generation. This isn't just an education problem, it's a wake-up call for an entire modern society still bound by outdated beliefs. The dark side of sexual education is leading Japanese students into unforeseen dangers, and it's time we face this truth. Will there be significant changes, or will everything continue to be concealed under the glossy surface of a modern society? And what about you? Share your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Hidden deep beneath the strict surface and stereotypes of club living in Japanese schools are shocking little-known stories. Let's learn more about the mystery of students in the land of the rising sun. Extracurricular club activities. Extracurricular clubs, from baseball, football to music, drama, and academic subjects, are seen as an integral part of helping students develop themselves. However, behind those training sessions and activities, a dark side is gradually emerging. Bullying in clubs, where new students often become targets for veteran members, remains silent. Isolated, forced to follow harsh tacit regulations, the children not only face mental pressure, but are sometimes dragged into more dangerous situations. Even more terrifying, some clubs are involved in cases of abuse of power, the worst of which is sexual harassment and abuse. Victims, mostly weaker students, were pinched by senior members or even coaches. In sports clubs, where the culture of respect for superiors is revered, abusive behavior is often hidden under the guise of discipline and loyalty. Young students, who did not dare to speak out for fear of revenge or discrimination, were forced to endure in silence. That silence only exacerbates the problem, as abuses continue to occur unchecked. While not a common phenomenon in all clubs, these issues have attracted the attention of societies and organizations that protect student rights, calling for closer supervision and better protection of students in extracurricular living environments. So what about you? If you are a student in Japan, would you dare to speak out when bullied or abused in your extracurricular club, or would you choose to be silent to avoid trouble? Although the darker aspects of club activities still exist, another side of school life in Japan offers a deeply positive and meaningful cultural practice. Students clean their schools every day. While most countries have janitors responsible for keeping schools clean, in Japan there is a unique yet meaningful tradition. Students themselves clean their schools every day. This is not just about sweeping classrooms or taking out the trash, but it is an educational activity that helps develop a sense of responsibility and community. Imagine, instead of rushing home right after school, Japanese students pick up brooms, wipe down blackboards, and take care of every corner of their school. Osoji. The cleaning ritual lasts from 15 to 30 minutes each day, and no one is exempt. This is a custom unlike any other, filled with mystery about how the Japanese education system teaches students to respect shared spaces and work collectively. It's not just about keeping the school clean, it's a process of learning how to take responsibility and handle tasks that may seem simple but carry deep meaning. What lies behind this tradition? It's a blend of personal discipline and community awareness, a profound philosophy deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. Little by little, students learn to respect the work of others, realizing that maintaining a clean environment requires not just effort but also willingness. Could this daily act of cleaning be one of the secrets behind Japan's renowned sense of respect and responsibility in society? What may seem like a small task carries great significance, And perhaps this is the key factor that helps Japan create such an orderly and organized society. Finally, we uncover yet another strange aspect of the Japanese school system, the practice of meditating before class. Imagine a morning at a Japanese school, where instead of the bell signaling the start of lessons, a sudden silence fills the classroom. Students, rather than hastily opening their books, sit quietly, close their eyes, and focus on their breathing. This unusual practice isn't widespread in every Japanese school, but in certain special schools, morning meditation has become a secret weapon to help students cope with the increasingly intense academic pressure. Though not a widespread tradition, some progressive schools in Japan have introduced morning meditation as a way for students to balance their minds and enhance their concentration. With silence and breath control, these students start their day with a calm and clear mindset, ready to face the challenges of their classes. The benefits of meditation are undeniable. Many students report feeling less stressed, more focused, and even better equipped to handle academic pressures. What's really happening behind these quiet meditation sessions? Could this be a new key to helping students navigate the stressful demands of school life in Japan? One thing is certain: this method has sparked significant interest among those looking to understand the power of stillness and inner peace amidst the storm of academic life. Reflecting on the controversies surrounding the increase in the age of consent in Japan, along with the issues of early marriage and the dark sides of the adult film industry, we can see the stark contrasts within the modern society of this nation. The blend of cute and alluring fashion trends with the pressures of school culture paints a complex picture of Japanese youth life, where individuals must balance personal creativity with strict discipline. Additionally, extracurricular activities in schools, with their hidden problems of bullying and abuse of power, raise questions about how students here face these underlying challenges. Japan, a modern country with many advanced achievements, still harbors mysteries and complexities, waiting for change in the voices of its hopeful and potential-filled younger generations. If you're intrigued by these mysterious and strange stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the fascinating explorations we have in store. And don't forget to leave a comment suggesting the next strange topic or country you'd like us to explore. See you next time.